Hey, welcome back, Math Gurus. In this video, we're going to practice Pythagorean Theorem, and the formula for Pythagorean Theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A and b are known as the legs, and then the longest side, which is directly across from the right angle, is your hypotenuse. That's the longest side of a right triangle. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Find the missing side of the right triangle, round the answer to the nearest tenth. So the first thing I recommend is always put an arrow towards the longest side, which is your hypotenuse. In this case, that's what we're solving for, but we're not always solving for it. So I do recommend this, and always writing down your formula when you're solving equations. So a squared plus b squared doesn't have to get all caught up because it doesn't really matter which side you want to call A or which ones you're going to call B. So I'm just going to say 16 squared is my A side, and then 18 is my B. I said squared, but I'm plugging it in. Sorry. And so now I'll use my calculator so I can... So I'm using Desmos. Most of you, if you have a cell phone, you'll have that. So 16 squared is 256. And then now I need to do 18 squared. That gives me 324. So here's what I see kids do. They forget to square root it at the end. Yes, you're going to add 256 to 324. And that does give you 580. But I want the side length, so that means I have to square root. The opposite of square is square root. So now I'll just, here's where I see mistakes made. It says round to the tenths place. And so a lot of times kids forget to round. The answer is C equals 24.08. Well, 0 is in the tenths place, and the number to the right of it is greater than 5. So it turns into, it rounds up to 24.1 centimeters. Sorry about my dogs. All right, so let's go to the next example. It says find the missing side of the right triangle, round the answer to the nearest tenth. Wait, we're doing the same thing. Put an arrow. If you already noticed, we already found the hypotenuse is given to us, so we're actually solving for one of the legs. Now I'll go ahead and square these. That's 625, and then 30 squared will give me 900. Now you're visualize solving a one-step equation. You want to isolate the a squared, so you'll subtract because that's the opposite. So 900 minus 625. The answer is not 275 because a squared is 275, but I want to know the side length. So that means I need to do square root of a squared and 275. And then this is where we'll round to the tenths place. And in this case, the second number is 8, and that's 5 or above. So that means it'll go up to 16.6 kilometers. All right, the last example is a word problem. A 15-foot wire is tied from the top of a pole to a stake at the ground. If the stake is 5 feet from the base of the pole, find the height of the pole. Round the answer to the nearest tenths place. All right, so it's not telling you if we're finding the leg or the hypotenuse. So I always recommend draw a picture. So we know the base is 5 feet from the house, so that would definitely going to be a leg. And if you ever see those the wires in a pole on a new neighborhood, well, the wire is always slanted, so we know the 15 is going to be the hypotenuse. And then what we're solving for is one of the legs. I'm just going to say A. Still want to write down the formula. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And then we're solving. So 5 squared is 25. 15 squared is 220. Yeah. We're now a one-step equation. Subtract 25 because that's the opposite of plus. So a squared equals 200, but I don't want to know a squared. I want to know what a is. So the side length would fall into 14.1. Feet. All right, well, thanks for watching. I hope this helped. If it did, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe.